2.
This is a Wild Age Production podcast.
You remember.
Roll your stealth roll?
Game books, pencils, pizza, cheese puffs, and a hell of a lot of dice.
And the dragon woke up.
Roll for Initiative. This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, where 1E is the place to be.
The Roll for Initiative podcast. This is Volume 6, Issue 187. I'm DM Vince. I'm sitting alongside DM Nick.
Hello, everybody.
And DM Matt.
Hello, everyone.
A little delayed response from Nick there. I don't know what's going on, but hope he's okay.
Sorry about that. No, I'm fine.
Alrighty, so we're back with another show. No more email show this time. I know how people don't like that show, but sometimes we just got to get those things out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The mailbag gets a little heavy, and we get tired of lugging it around, so we got to empty it out.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, right? Anyway, so now it's Black Friday. We're recording on Black Friday for those. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. This show should.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully, people are getting their Black Friday shopping done and they're ready to go with their Christmas shopping and checking out RPG Now with their Black Friday sales and all the discount sales going on. Getting ready for Cyber Monday. Nick, your shopping all done? Nick?
No.
Oh, okay. How about you, Matt?
Shopping? No. I'm still recovering from my birthday recently, so haven't quite got around to buying other people's stuff. I'm buying. Mostly I've been in the receiving mode.
The receiving mode?
Yes. Got some games for my birthday. That's always.
Yeah, that's always fun, definitely. What's your prized possession from your birthday haul?
Well, got some board games. The mother-in-law bought me King of Tokyo, so I got that board game.
Mm-hmm.
The wife, she did some Amazon shopping, got me the Dark City expansion for Marvel Legendary, and she knew I wanted the game Smash Up, so she bought me something for Smash Up. We actually didn't own the base game at the time, and so I open up the President, and it's the big giant geeky box for Smash Up. She thought it was the base game, and I had to point out to her, no, this is just an empty box. Store all your expansions in. So she was a little upset with that one and immediately ran out and bought me the base game too.
Aw.
Because she was like, oh, I'm shopping, and I was looking for it, and I saw the base game, but then I saw the bigger box, and I'm like, oh, of course people you want the bigger box, and thought it was a new edition, so she tried.
Yeah, she did.
But we since played it, and in response to her having to run out and buy me the game since she bought me an empty box, I went and bought her the pretty Smash Up expansion, so now we have princesses and unicorns and fairies in our game.
Oh, boy. I didn't even know they made that.
Yes, they do. They also have Cthulhu for Smash Up as well, so you could have Princess Cthulhu be your deck.
Yeah.
I need to get this Cthulhu
That's
expansion.
so cool.
Yes. Smash Up is very amusing, and it's light enough that you can get like the non-gamers playing it.
Huh.
Good times.
Cool.
Good times.
Well, happy belated birthday on the podcast to you, man.
Well, why, thank you.
Yes, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I've been busy myself, actually kind of writing, doing a bunch of writing for Mazes and Perils, because we're doing Kickstarter next year for a new edition. And we'll be doing Space Lords of Venus, which is supposed to be like a space pulp version of Mazes and Perils. So we'll see how that goes.
Cool.
So, Nick, what stars do we have this week?
Okay, for stars.
Yeah.
Looks like we have for Roll for Initiative here on iTunes. For everybody who doesn't remember, you could go over to iTunes and go to their store type in Roll for Initiative and find us there, and you can give us a review, and also you can download previous episodes and listen to it. Either download it for yourself or listen to it right there from iTunes. We have one new review, 5 stars, and it's from Ewart1713. Gave us 5 stars and says love it. That's it.
Cool. That's
all we got.
Straight and to the point there. We like that.
Pretty much.
Definitely something we like. All right, cool. Any gaming news on your front, Nick?
Nothing really, to be honest.
Okay.
I think we're going to try to have a game here in December, maybe 2, because we all missed out on November. So I think December is going to be our next game time. So other than that, nothing really new.
All righty then. So let's go right into Table Manners.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I had to find one with table manners.
What, are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
Okay, everybody. Here we go on to Table Manners, and because everybody loves it when we do reviews of modules, and we had a request for this one, I guess a little while back from what Vince has said.
Yeah.
It's the first in the UK series of modules, the official first of the UK series, UK1, Beyond the Crystal Cave by Dave J. Brown, Tom Kirby, and Graham Morris. Because you could tell it's English because there's a guy by the name of Graham. So,
oh, jeez. That's how you know it's English, so okay.
Well, it should have been named some guy named Nigel.
Yes.
And another guy named, I don't know, Winston. But I'll take Graham.
How about Angus? would Angus help too?
Angus?
Or,
no, that'd be Scottish.
That'd be Scottish? Oh, okay.
Scottish. So,
I guess overall opinions of this module first before we dive into it. Yeah.
Because I remember when you said, we've had some requests to review this module, and remembering in the past I've had this in my collection for like forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember reading it before, and I was kind of on the fence about it. I didn't really know how I felt about it either way. And after reviewing it or reading it again after I don't know how many years, I still feel the same way. I still don't know how I feel about this module. I don't know if good or bad, kind of indifferent and meh.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of feel about it.
Just meh.
Just meh.
This module has a little bit of railroading in it. I mean, it's an interesting module. It's really big. I mean, as far as this is definitely not a one night sit around for 6 hours and finish this up. This could probably last 2, maybe 3 sessions, maybe 4, depending on how long your group sits there and plays. I mean, if we were teenagers again, I'm sure we'd probably knock this out in one night, but we're not. But so we'd probably do 2-3 hours at a spot and then get this done. But couple mistakes in the module, but that's understandable at the time. Definitely a lot of railroading, in my opinion, in this module. There's one point when we get to it that it seems like if your character will get turned against the entire party because he's entranced with the place, you might as well just hand your character over at that point because the party's probably going to just kill you off. At least the parties that I played with, as soon as you go against them, you're dead. So,
right.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, this is one where I was just, as I was reading through, I'm just like, huh? Part of me, perhaps it was just the fact you're exploring through like a lush garden. I started having slight Forest Oracle flashbacks.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Forest Oracle bad, but geez.
It just gave me that like what is going on vibe.
Yeah.
Also, when you have the one page of list that lists all the different spells that either don't work or work differently, you have to keep track of. That's something I know I'm going to forget when I run it.
Yeah, I can see that easily happening.
And then also when you're just reading through the introduction and it starts saying, well, in order to break this, the players need a wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they have to use the wish the right way too.
Right. It's just like, okay, this is almost like an acid trip.
Yeah. Well, even concludes almost that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like very different than your typical module being put out by TSR in the US at the time. This is,
Yes.
you can, as you read it, you can see like, okay, some of the UK influence, as in like the myth, the legend, like when you start reading it, feuding families, their daughter and son run off together. Oh, it's a Romeo and Juliet type thing going on
basically.
here. And then they go into a forest and get trapped, and you got to go rescue them.
Yeah, but it's in the way.
Right.
Is very, very, can be very difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I guess kind of leading into that is really the basic plot of this particular module. It is set in the World of Greyhawk setting, in the, I believe, the island of Simbarate. Excuse me if I'm I'm not saying that correctly, but it's over in the Azure Sea. That I believe it's part of the Hold of the Sea Princes. That's part of that kingdom. There's
where did they come up with the time frame for this whole module? You go inside this whole fantasy garden thing, and a day passes and 2 years pass in real time.
Right.
There's some weird time dilation.
I was just
it has something to do with the enchantment over the garden, I guess.
I just thought it was funny because you get this adventure, you have to go find them, you go in, and then by the time you're done, you'll probably be in there 2-3 days. You come out, the people will be like, "Oh, we forgot about that. We don't even care anymore." It's like,
Yeah, it's been years now.
Yeah, 4 years could have passed.
Which also, thinking about that has got me wondering exactly how powerful was this wizard who made this garden?
Quite.
When it talks about breaking the one barrier, needing a 20th level wizard. So what was the guy that made it?
I don't know.
Was he
damn near a demigod?
Right?
Has to have been.
Had to have, but because the magic in this is insane for one person to.
It's either that, or he found an artifact to create this.
I'm gonna go with artifact.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're like, this is a demigod. Elminster and Mordenkainen have nothing on him.
Right. Exactly.
So, how much did you guys, when you first read the little blurb that they have there, think Romeo and Juliet right away?
Absolutely, it comes right off of it.
Absolutely,
it's a rip off of Romeo and Juliet, and even more so, just how they are trapped in this place. Basically, what happens is how they got trapped. For everybody, if they're not familiar, is the two star-crossed lovers. They are escaping from their family. They go into Proferio's garden, and they drink from the fountain, and there they decide, because of what happens with this fountain, that it gives them influence to stay in this garden. Now the garden was made hundreds and hundreds of years ago,
from what I can tell.
By what were their names? Carwin and Proferio were the original inhabitants of this garden. And they're dead, but they're not exactly dead. They're kind of in some sort of weird half-dead dream state sort of thing. So when the two star-crossed lovers, Juliana and Orlando, when they go into the garden, the inhabitants of the garden kind of see them as they're the second coming of Carwin and Proferio.
Yeah.
So, and they somehow, the two Romeo and Juliet types, they are convinced after drinking from the fountain that that's who they are, and they stay. Well, nobody outside knows that the families don't know that that's what happened to these two. They just want them back.
Well, it's been 2 years?
Yeah, it's been 2 years, which has been a couple of days real time. Or garden time or some stuff like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's weird how the time dilation is inside the garden. Trying to see where it says it exactly, what the time difference is. And I don't know why there's a time difference. There really isn't given a explanation why there's. Maybe it just has something to do with the magic of the garden itself.
Yes, it's the magic over the garden. Yeah.
So just because of that, yeah, it's 700 times slower than that is of the outside. For each day spent in the garden is 2 years passed in the outside world. Wow. So there is kind of a time issue with this module, which goes to Vince saying, yeah, there's a bit of railroading here, just from the idea of the time dilation. And you know what the cool thing about it is? Nobody's aware of it.
No.
Nobody knows that there's a time difference.
Especially the two guys that are caught in there from the last time that have been there for
hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah, because they've been there for 6 months. So it's just like, yeah, by the time you get out, don't even bother. You might as well just not even bother. Just stay in there.
NPCs or PCs later on. But, yeah, there's a whole list of spells like Matt was saying that
don't work.
That you can't use. In addition to that, no fire, natural, or magical can be made to burn in the garden, which there is a bit of a issue with.
Yeah.
Magical or psionic flying or levitation cannot be performed in the garden. It's always summer in the garden. Big freaking deal.
It always rains every night.
There's like a light rain or drizzle throughout the garden overnight that's done magically. So that all the plants can get water. Oh. Now there is a bit of a glitch about the whole fire thing.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Fire newts.
Yeah, let's get to that in a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to start at the beginning when you're talking to the governor, who's supposed to not to be confused with the governor on Walking Dead.
Yeah. All right, governor.
Yeah. He hires the party to go to the garden and find these two, because one of them is his either niece or nephew. I forget which one it was. But he has a medallion of ESP on him.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he need to vet the party? I mean, what's the point of that? He uses it while the governor has a medallion of ESP, which he would use while questioning the party. It is quite possible for the party to hire a local person to guide them on their quest for suitable fees, of course. But why does he need to vet the party while he's asking them questions if they're going to rescue somebody? I didn't get that part.
I didn't get it either. I mean, he's got the medallion.
And then he has 12 rumors that you're supposed to randomly tell the party while we're talking. So,
right. And you're how many of them are you supposed to give them? Is it all of them?
It doesn't really say.
He gives you 4. The governor will volunteer 4, but the rest, if you just mingle with the local inhabitants, you can get the rest of them.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. The party should have no difficulty in accumulating all 12 by going around town and stuff. So, some of these rumors are pretty funny, but
yeah,
some of them are true, some of them are false.
I like the rumor where they say that Profero's not dead, but he's a lich.
Yes, false.
That should get you all ready to go for this adventure.
Well, how about certain rose blossoms contain gems within their petals? Oh, I'd be running to go there.
Yeah. Some of these, you can tell some of these rumors are set up for you to think that you're going to have to fight your way through, which is a huge issue in this module.
And then you have the nothing is evil in the garden, which, is true.
It's pretty much true.
Yeah, it's pretty much true. And that'll be the one that players will be like, oh no, there's a lich and there's a dragon. How could that be true?
Oh yeah, exactly. Huge red dragon lies in magical sleep within the garden, and any use of magic nearby will awaken it. Okay.
Yeah, if you will be quick to figure out that this module is not hack and slash at all, and that's I think one of the major reasons that's why it's so different when it came out. It's, I guess you could call it a thinking man's dungeon, but it was tweaked in a way that combat is going to get you in big trouble.
Right. This is more of a hack and die. You start hacking, you die.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. Because there's a certain dude that might show up.
Yeah.
The Green Man.
The Green Man.
Did the Green Man not remind you of Q from Star Trek The Next Generation? I don't know.
Yeah, but not nearly as annoying.
No, not as annoying, but he just kind of reminded me of like Q from Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah, because they'll just pop up when there's trouble, right?
Yeah, and he'll just start, like, ha, 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 type deal. All right.
I kind of like the idea of them, but I don't know.
There's way too many notes describing stuff, I think, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
the setup and everything's just like, oh, come on already.
They did enjoy their box tag.
Yeah. And
Yes, they did. A lot of flavor text.
And since it's a UK module, they took full advantage of the Fiend Folio.
Of course. About half, if not 3/4, are Fiend Folio monsters.
Plus the monsters they made up.
Yes. The 2 monsters that were brought in later on.
Which,
So-
I mean, if you think about the Fiend Folio, there was a lot of plant foliage-based creatures in it, so it fits.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point.
So
they get on their quest with the Baron to get all of the information from him, whatever true, false rumors, and whether they're going to be given a reward of 10,000 gold, I believe, if they fulfill this. But the funny thing is, when this thing starts off, it starts you off in a way to where you're going to expect hack and slash.
Yep.
Hence, starting off the entrance caverns, right?
C1 through 7.
Yeah. That's basically part 2, is known as the entrance caverns to the garden. And there's a couple of encounters here that are, I guess you could call them hack and slash. You might run into some poltergeists. There's also the lair of the Mudmen. I actually think that encounter is kind of cool.
Yeah, I found it interesting how they won't attack you unless you step in the mud. They rise up and attack, but as soon as you leave the mud, they're just like, meh, they leave you alone. But
right.
Your movements move. What I thought was great was your movements down to 1 inch when you step in the mud. They hit you with their blobs because they basically either throw mud or themselves at you, which is hysterical.
Right.
So once you get hit with that mud, you go down to 0 movement and start suffocating at that point.
And start to slowly solidify. The mud magically solidifies quicker. And then, in fact, there's a point, if you do defeat the Mudmen, you do find 2 other adventures that have been basically encased in mud that have been there for who knows how long. And there you might get some treasure there.
Yeah,
but
if you bother going,
I kind of like the Mudmen. I like I guess you want to call it the ecology, how they're made. I kind of like the idea how like a runoff from magical fountains or rivers and stuff, when it mixes with the ground and everything, could produce these magical creatures known as Mudmen. But they're very resentful of every other creature in the world because everybody else moves faster than them. So
yeah, that ticks them right off.
Oh yeah, and there's the ochre jelly too.
Oh yeah, with the poltergeist, if you have a chance to save versus fear against them, and then you can go running in one of the random cave directions, and one of them happens to be the ochre jelly cave, which the jelly will attack you because you're feared and crouching in the corner, hidden, trying to hide, I should say. And once they attack you, the fear is negated. But it's just funny that you're crouching in the corner, crying away, and this thing's like blap, 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 trying to get at you.
Yeah, that's true. You can either run towards the ochre jelly or towards the Mudmen. So,
which running towards the Mudmen would really annoy them.
Yes, it would. And then you get past, eventually, if and when you get past the Mudmen, you
I could definitely
get to.
I'm sorry, I can definitely see a couple people in my party dying either from the Mudmen or the jelly.
Yeah, I can too. The Mudmen for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, just how their attack is. As soon as you're hit, you start suffocating. Was it 1d6 points of damage per round?
1d8.
Or 1d8.
Yeah, suffocation.
Plus the mud starts to solidify, and then you're stuck in it. And then you get to the actual crystal cave, which I thought was kind of cool how this thing works.
Mm-hmm.
I could picture in my mind how the waterfall that comes from the actual garden, and this is a magical water, and there's that whole time distortion thing going on.
Yeah.
So the water actually shows the time distortion when it's leaving the waterfall, it almost looks like it's solid. It's barely moving. And the closer the water gets to the floor, the faster it moves. So it's a weird kind of time distortion effect that's going on with the water. And you have to get through it somehow. And the thing is, you have to get through the waterfall to get to this other room so you can get to the teleportation chamber, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get through the waterfall, it says that it's not speed, it's actually how slowly you get through it. The faster you go through, the water acts more of a barrier. So, and they give some suggestions how you could get through it. Destroy water, which the opposite of create water would help. Part water or lower water, dispel magic, stuff like that could help you basically create a tunnel through the water that you can get through. And then you get to the observation room, which has the teleportation chamber, and then boom, you're in the garden. You end up in the middle. Yes, the toadstool ring, and that's where part 3 comes into it.
Oh boy!
Into Profero's garden, which just gets in a whole bunch of weirdness. If it just didn't get weird enough with the crystal cave, like with all those damn leprechauns.
Didn't find anything interesting
What'd
about
you think of those? Excuse me.
The dancing, singing leprechauns that are so bored that they're so happy someone else is there they can tease with their song.
Yeah,
I thought that was great.
Yeah, I think that's gonna like, I could already picture my party as at least one person wanting to like totally annihilate all those leprechauns.
Yeah, but there's a purpose to their rhymes.
Trouble.
There's a purpose to those rhymes, though.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
It tells
the
you
rhymes
not
are
careful.
actually hints of things to come. And plus, also, attacking these leprechauns would be slightly difficult because they'll probably polymorph your weaponry into like plush animals.
So are
like
these
a teddy bear.
Are these like the Oompa Loompas of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Or
I never thought it. I thought them more like Smurfs.
I thought of them as the Oompa Loompas because they're telling you the secrets of the Oompa Loompas would sing the songs and everything. So I was like,
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
Or the what do they call those guys on Futurama from the Slurm Factory there? The orange guys.
Yeah. Which are a knockoff of the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah,
yes, I got you.
Yep. And
yeah, I guess they could be kind of like that.
Yeah, and they're like the cast-offs of the garden too, because the rest of the garden really don't like them.
Because they keep singing these stupid songs. That's why.
And you can make them, I guess you could role play them as the DM. You could role play them in either, I guess there's two ways you could take it to the extreme. One, they're like sticky, sweet, super nice, you know? Or you could go the opposite way where they're like a bunch of like blue collar leprechauns who like to drink and pass gas and smoke. And yet they sing these bawdy songs.
So you could either take them Lucky Charms or you could take them Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh,
basically,
God, you went there, Matt.
Yes, I did.
You're fired.
Hey, at least I didn't drop a Hornswoggle
You're fired.
reference.
Shh. HR is going to call you tonight.
Oh, great. But yeah, I love how the leprechauns, where you can have, if you draw a weapon on them, they might polymorph it into like a teddy bear or something like that.
And they actually have a picture of a teddy bear in the guy's hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Could you imagine that one? You call up the artist. I need you to draw me a picture. What's that, Bob? I need you to draw me a hand of a warrior, but instead of a sword, I want a teddy bear. The guy's like, what? Okay.
Why?
But anyway, go on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if this polymorph, it's going to depend on if the weapon's magical or not. I'm sure if it's magical, it's going to be highly resisted. But yeah, they have that going against them. Plus, this also brings up the fact that this is like probably the first encounter where you might have somebody in the party might want to try to kill something in here.
Oh,
one of the little, I guess, drawbacks you might want to call about the garden is if you attack something in here, there's, I think it's a 1 in 6 chance or always
1 in 6 chance that the green man will
show up. Yes. The Green Man being a demigod. He's basically from the old English mythos. And I guess he's kind of like the god of brewing. I guess you might want to call him.
Herbalism, maybe. I don't know. Something like that.
His sphere of control is nature and growth.
So he's a hippie.
And so he's kind of like that. But he sounds like he's very much revered by brewers and people who make alcohol. Because one of his attacks is if was it a 10-foot breath weapon?
Yes.
You could get intoxicated.
Yeah. So he breathes on you and you get drunk.
Yeah.
That's how drunk he
pretty
is.
much. Yeah.
Oh,
he's
boy.
like, what's his name? Old
Who?
drunk.
Barney
hell
from
is
The
it?
Simpsons?
No. I'm thinking from the Dean Martin roasts. What the heck is that? One guy. He's a comedian actor.
Dean Martin was always drunk, so I have no idea.
Well, anyway, but it just like breathes on you, and you might get drunk if you fail your save, which I thought was kind of funny.
No.
But yeah, there's a 1 in 6 chance that he'll show up anytime that you attack anything in the garden. So
Well, he's the keeper of the garden, or whatever they call him, the groundskeeper, pretty much. So of course he's going to be showing up to take care of business in the place.
yeah. So yeah, there's the leprechauns, and then there's
Dryads.
was it that carp dragon in the river?
Oh,
another fiendfolio monster,
the endless
Yulong,
river, yeah.
which is a carp dragon. It's an oriental dragon. I thought that was kind of weird, having a oriental dragon in this sort of thing.
Some of the monsters don't make... It's just another one of those zoo full of monsters dungeon type thing. It just kind of... Some of the monsters did not make sense why they're around each other. But, and again, this is 1979 or something? No, 80-something?
Actually, this came out in 83.
83. So close enough, yeah. This is back when the monsters didn't make sense, so...
No, they didn't have to.
Also, they were probably like, let's jam as many Fiendfolio monsters in it as possible.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's a good advertisement for the book, so...
Yeah, about every other monster encounter in here is a Fiendfolio monster. Pretty good portion of them. So,
yeah, unless you don't...
Yeah, you have...
Unless you want the fluff, you don't need to buy the book.
Right. Right. Then there's some dryads. There's a dryads woods. There's satyrs.
Which is interesting because they're all playing their flutes, and if you do hear it, you might be charmed.
Mm-hmm.
You might be slept, which I thought was funny how they put that. Or you might be feared. They didn't put feared or suffered fear. They just fear.
Fear.
Okay, charmed, slept, and will suffer fear. Why did they go past present? Whatever. Okay.
I don't know.
I thought that was weird.
Maybe it had something to do with the Green Man when they were writing this. Maybe they all got drunk. I don't know.
Why don't you ask Grandma Mars?
That's the name of the guy, Foster Brooks. Foster Brooks is the name of the one character actor guy.
But
he always acts like he's drunk.
Oh, yeah.
You would know him if you'd see him, right?
Yeah. I remember. Because didn't he play the piano too? Or am I confusing him with another drunk character actor comedian?
You might be.
He might have. No, I think he might have. I think you're right. But he was kind of a character actor. He always played a drunk. If you don't know who I'm talking about, if you'd see a picture of him, you know who I would be talking about. But that's how I pictured the Green Man. He's like the English version of Foster Brooks. So, anywho, sorry. Just the name came to my mind. I had to blurt that out.
Or the guy that Dudley Martin, whatever his name was.
Dudley Moore.
Dudley Moore.
I guess you could go a Dudley Moore route.
Ha! Another Martini.
Oh God, this is great.
Yeah, go on.
What was there? There's a cave of frogs.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, and then there's the fire drakes. Okay.
Well, go back to the Cave of Frogs for a second here. So you go in this
Cave of Frogs, Game of Thrones. What?
No, Cave of Frogs.
Okay.
So you go in this cave. And there's these giant frogs there that won't exactly attack you, but will sit there and wait for you to respond to them and speak to them. If you don't, then they will attack you. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if, as a player character, my guy would be like the first thing, aha, there's frogs. Let's try to talk to them. So, I don't know.
No.
Would you?
No, it'd be more like, kill them, experience points, go.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just like, oh, they're giant frogs. They must be evil.
Right. Or, oh, they're giant frogs. Let's just walk around them
Right.
because they're frogs.
Yeah,
Or
not my
if
group.
you get them sucked into the whole Romeo and Juliet, the fairy tale thing, maybe they'll be like, maybe if we kiss one of them, something will happen.
Oh, boy.
And then some
Now
lucky adventurer will find a magical shield. -1.
Yeah.
Missile
Missile
attack.
attractor.
Missile attractor.
Yeah.
Which could be detrimental to them in
Detrimental. Yeah, true. All right.
But there is the Fire
Fire-
Drakes
yeah.
encounter,
This is what you
which
said
I
was...
do have.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one issue with that.
Go ahead.
Remember the whole like non-magical, no magical or non-magical fire?
Yes.
You have these 2 Fire Drakes, right? And apparently they might help out other denizens of this garden if they call to them. But they also have I guess they're a mated pair. They have a clutch of eggs that you might be able to find. And it says in the description about them that, where does it say? If once uncovered, the eggs will cool rapidly. Okay. Hidden there are 2 eggs, which the fire drakes have been incubating by the occasional blast of fire breath. Okay, how do they breathe fire when there's no magical or real fire available that you can do inside this place?
It's a psychological fire.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. It was obviously a mistake that...
Obviously.
I think, to be honest, more than one person wrote this module. We have 3 people listed here with the names.
Yes, we do.
I
One of
wonder
them
if
named
the
Graham.
whole magical fire, non-magical fire thing kind of did lost in the cracks, and they went, oh, by the way, you weren't supposed to do it. And like, oh, whatever. We'll just keep it that way.
I blame the guy named Graham.
Maybe with the garden, it doesn't count if it's fire by animal.
It's
It's only the human-made fire.
natural or magical, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider
Maybe.
this natural.
You would
Right.
think, but yeah, I'm reaching here. And also something with this, as we keep going through this, we're glossing over the gratuitous amounts of like gems and gold and items you're finding.
Yeah.
But because there's one thing with that. If the inhabitants of the garden see you with somebody else's stuff that you've taken, they don't appreciate it and they will attack.
Very true. That is true. We didn't talk about that at all.
Yeah, so if your players have the loot the room mentality, all these friendly creatures are going to get very cranky for stealing their friend's stuff.
Become not so friendly creatures.
Well, we probably didn't talk about because we forgot. There's so much stuff you got to keep track of. If
Yeah.
there's like, if you do A, then B may happen or C may happen. I'm like, like you said, Vince, there's a lot of railroading along with this, and if you do the wrong thing at a certain time, or it could be a real pain for the DM to keep track of all of it, I think.
Yeah. Definitely.
So then there's a know nothing bear encounter.
Which the bears are hanging around behind the fire drakes. Is that how they keep warm? Or
I guess.
But if you notice, there are 3 bears, 2 adults, and a cub.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
what are you
I
trying to
saw
say?
that.
So don't eat their porridge.
I was
Right.
waiting for someone to get to
Mama bear, Papa bear, and baby bear. Right? Yes,
that. Except there's no porridge, so
and there's no Goldilocks.
no, she'd be dead.
Or
by
maybe if you brought them porridge.
Eh,
If the players happen to have porridge with them and offer it to the bears, I would let the bears be friends.
mm.
But they have no items or anything of value, so why bother with
I
them?
mean, yeah. I mean, I would go along with Matt on this. I mean, the module's weird enough as it is. I mean, why not bring them some porridge, for God's sake?
Right. And if the players just happen to have porridge with them.
Because every
Yes.
player writes down porridge in their inventory.
Yeah,
You
well,
never-
you never know. You might have that one guy.
You absolutely could.
Uh,
And
Let's-
it does make reference to the bears' beds.
Well,
They use straw as a bed.
oh, just got to find the one that's just right.
Yep.
And there she is.
let's go to the
Actually,
Fountain
no.
of All Heal now.
Yes. Skip a bit, brother.
So here's the fountain that you can drink from
Right.
that will cure just about anything that's wrong with you, no matter what.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, that part is cool. I mean, what does it say? It'll cure any or all ills or disorders, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and magical, except for death, alignment change, and its own enchantment.
Yeah. Then there's the side effect of the fountain, which could happen.
Yes. It'll restore all lost hit points, ability points, experience levels, and memory. It will neutralize poison, cure all diseases, exorcise evil spirits, and dispel the effects of confusion, charm, and hypnosis. Has to be, but you have to drink it directly from the fountain. As soon as it hits the pool, it becomes non-magical, I guess.
So, okay. As with most powerful effects, a DM may find the unscrupulous player trying to benefit unfairly from the experience. For example, the fountain will restore lost levels of experience. The DM should be wary of allowing such spurious claims. What the hell were they trying to say here?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out too.
What can an unscrupulous player do here that is not already covered? You can't take it away from the fountain. You have to only drink from the fountain.
Right.
Right. Unless they found some way to keep the water to move the fountain?
So this is basically their loophole around the player's loophole?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty much. Like if you decide, hey, let's put the fountain in a bag of holding.
I guess you could do that, but how? Shrink the fountain and put it in the bag of holding?
Yeah, reduce the fountain, put it in a bag of holding, and then whenever something bad happens, you pull out your little miniature fountain. It's like something you would keep on your desk at work, one relaxing Zen garden fountains. You
Oh,
take your
God.
sip out of it and heals and makes all better.
Except the side effect will follow with the fountain anyway. So where is that side effect?
Well, it's in that third paragraph. They say each.
Yeah, you got it right there.
When a person makes they drink from the fountain, they must make a saving throw versus magic, or they will
Become permanently enchanted.
wander
with
wander away from the party and find a place to settle down in the garden.
They permanently become enchanted within the garden and refuse to leave it.
They'll leave it.
This
Yeah.
saving throw should be made discreetly by the DM as to not alert the party members to their danger. If any character fails to save, he or she will wander away from the main party looking for some part of the garden where he or she will settle down as one of the guardian's inhabitants.
And this could be your first TPK, non-TPK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they all fail their saving throw, your game is now over.
Well,
And nothing could break the spell except a wish.
not entirely 100% true because they still have the ability to have their character, but they just want to live in the stupid garden now.
Right. They don't want to leave.
Yeah.
So your entire campaign is them playing forage in the forest. So basically it's level 1 World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how you put that.
Yeah.
So at that point, yeah, your game is
Kind of screwed.
it's like, yeah, you found them, but you don't want to take them back.
And how are you going to roll that discreetly? I mean, to be honest, I guess how you would handle that, at least how I would, is you know that you're going to run this adventure. I'd probably pre-roll the save before even the adventure starts.
No, I wouldn't do that. Well, you could do that,
No?
yeah, but I think I would probably roll it afterwards. Let them drink, let them get their heal and everything like that. And while they're all discussing what to do next,
Then you roll their save.
roll a couple. Say, what are you doing? Just preparing. Don't worry about it. That's you could rationalize it as a DM. Okay, maybe it takes a few minutes for this effect to happen.
Oh, okay.
The
I
body
guess
has
that
to
would be
absorb
it.
the water. It's not an instant thing. It's like they drink it, they get healed. Once that goes and absorbs into the body, look at that. Your heart starts filling with love for the garden.
Yeah.
I guess that's the way you could do it too. Well, that's how an evil
You
DM
just
like
ha-
me would do it.
Yeah, you just have this incredible compulsion to just be on your own and be a part of this garden and take care of it and defend it.
Which, so, putting Matt's theory aside, let's go with some of the people in the party get this enchantment.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of the party can convince these players to come with them to help find these people because, okay, they'll do that. Why not explore the rest of the garden they're going to live in? Yay, my home, boy. But the moment you do anything that they don't like or touch anything they don't like, they're going to attack you. They have no choice. Railroading.
Yes, railroading.
So
Everybody got on the train. Woo woo.
those players are dead. Well, players,
For the
characters.
most part.
Sorry, characters are dead. I said players.
Because they're dead. That's harsh.
Because the party's this is setting up for an inter-party fight.
Yeah, it is. Exactly.
And at page 15 of the module, it could be over.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it could be. I mean, depending what route they take, I mean, they could get there rather quickly. And next thing you know, oh my gosh, game over, man.
Game over, man. Game over.
And then you have and then on top of that, there's inter-party fighting like that. Who might show up?
The Green Man.
Right.
Yeah, the Green Man along with the Marlboro Man, they'll show up. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. The Marlboro Man.
No, I don't know because you said the man, so I said the Marlboro Man.
The man.
The man.
I am the man.
The man. All right, let's go to the Pixie Woods.
The Pixie Woods. Yeah, this is where you might get in trouble if you have that shield -1 missile attractor.
Yeah.
There's 3 pixies living in this area. They have a very small lair. And one of the things that the pixies have, they have their arrows. They have bows and arrows. And if you have that shield -1 missile attractor, well, you're in big trouble because now you're going to be the arrow magnet.
This is one point.
If you attack the pixies.
This is the one point when if you get hit by one of the 3 magical arrows that they have, War Arrow, which does 2 to 5, which is fine, then the Sleep Arrow, and then the Arrow of Forgetfulness. It's just like, crap, we got to bring it back to the fountain.
Yeah. It's just like, I just love it when somebody gets hit this arrow, thwack. What?
I don't know.
I don't know. 1.
We gotta,
2.
we got to bring Nick back to the fountain.
Right.
Okay.
And then he has to roll his save again to see if he wants to just hang out in the garden forever.
Water good.
Because that's one thing where I wonder for a party going through it, how tempting it would be to try to just drink from that fountain a lot. To, heal up. Oh, fix this, fix that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And on top of the Pixies having these magical arrows, they have a -4 to hit because they're mostly invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
and they're kind of annoying too.
Called shot every time almost.
Right. So
yeah.
you're just pretty much getting bombarded with these magical arrows. You don't know where they're coming from. Shot by invisible. At this point, your players will be like insane.
Well, let's see what else. In their lair, you might, if you get lucky, you might find a pearl of power. And other than that, it's pretty much it on that encounter. Just keep in mind, everybody, any encounter that you do in here, if it's combat, the Green Man's going to show up, and it's going to mess everything up. So just keep that in mind.
Because if you come through friendly,
Mm-hmm.
because if you come through friendly and you don't go hacking and slashing and are nice to everyone, you can get through this with relatively no combat or bad effects.
Yeah.
If you're just respectful of your surroundings.
And that's where I think it's kind of boring.
Well,
I mean, then it's just
I think if you
turns
express
into
that
negotiation at the UN.
Yeah, I think if you express that in the beginning of the module, how everybody, what everybody's perception of the garden is and how it's treated, and how everybody inside is treated, I think maybe that might be a little hint to the players. Don't destroy everything.
Right. I mean, maybe after a couple of times when you do get into encounters where they do result in combat and the Green Man shows up, hopefully the party gets the hint. Maybe we shouldn't fight. So
That'd be kind of cool. Like when the Green Man shows up, you do like one of those. And you're like, oh crap! The
sirens
Green Man.
going off.
Just something like to scare them, like a gong or something.
The sky
that would
turns
be-
green.
Oh yeah, the wind whips up, and then this drunk guy shows up. Hey, how you doing, guys?
Appears and just falls face first in front of him.
The god of hangovers.
Yeah. Thud. Did he just pass out? No, I'm fine.
I'm fine. It's all good. It's great. I'm fine.
Centaur lair.
Oh yeah, the was it the Pixies? Then there's first encounter with a new monster, the bark bird. Yeah, they have these two types of, sentient tree creatures that have burrs all over them. And I believe this monster eventually ends up in the Monster Manual 2, Electric Boogaloo. But the bark burr, there's an encounter there, which I really don't know what the significance of the encounter is itself, except being a new monster. I don't think there's anything significant as far as going to the rest of the module itself.
No, not really.
And then there's the treant.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
I like treants.
I mean,
but
he's kind of like the Green Man's friend,
Yeah.
I guess.
His bud.
Yeah, because the treant is one of those. No one's sure how it got there. It just kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't there originally. It just kind of wandered in. I am a treant. I'm now.
Well,
going
he's
with
more
you."
of like an Archie Bunker type or Oscar the Grouch. I guess he's a real grumpy treant.
Aren't most treants grumpy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of cranky.
They're always just like cranky, annoying. I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
that's true. But their bark is worse than their bite.
Oh, you went there.
Thank you.
Nick,
I'll deduct experience points for myself. I'm sorry.
HR wants to speak to you.
The puns.
Yes, puns. Well, then there's the treant where they don't know where he came from, but he just kind of showed up. What does it say about him? Of course, the Green Man could win a serious argument, but he does nothing to upset the curmudgeon but kind friend, the treant. He's curmudgeon-y. There's a word that we don't use enough. Curmudgeon-y. Then we have the Centaur's Lair, which I don't know. It just from there it just gets into like a whole like fairyland sort of thing. You got pixies, you got centaurs, you got unicorns. Yes, you got unicorns, folks. But they do say that they are aggressive, alert, and intelligent. And just don't cut their horns off. It'll bring winter. Oh, wait, that's the movie.
Yeah.
Though I did read that section, I was thinking of the movie Legend. Yeah. This how this whole kind of module kind of feels in a way. The whole Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers, blah, blah, blah. So, there's the Unicorn's Meadow. There's that Centaur's Lair. Then there's the two parts of the garden where there's a yellow rose and a red rose tree.
Yes. The yellow rose arbor and the red rose arbor.
Yeah. The yellow rose, I guess you go into that area. So anyone who has a wisdom of greater than 10 must make a save versus poison, or they will lose 1 point of wisdom. And it will last until the character leaves the garden. Is it only 1 point, or is it 1 point for each round? No, I guess it just is 1 point.
1 point, as far as I can see.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to make or break your character. but you have that, and also when you go into the red rose area,
And you don't
that
tell the
poison-
player, by the way, of the loss.
right? They will lose strength temporarily. I guess just 1 point. So
Suddenly, your armor feels a lot heavier than it did before.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess they did say in here though, if there are character classes that are dependent on wisdom or strength, I guess if your class has a minimum and you're just at you're at the minimum for that class, if you drop below that minimum for wisdom or strength, I guess according to the rules, you're no longer that class.
Right.
That's what it would
like
be.
if you had that 9 intelligent or the 9 wisdom to be a cleric, and all of a sudden you go to 8. Sorry.
You're no longer a cleric.
Right. You are now just a person.
Yeah. Just a fighter.
You're just the person who likes to use blunt weapons because you can't use
Yeah.
edged.
Right.
Oh, we're bringing that
All
up
of us.
again.
Yeah, no, you lose that point of wisdom. All of a sudden, you realize, why am I using this club? I should be using a sword.
There you go.
Or
Yeah.
or just a simple fact when they try to do, I don't know, cure light wounds on somebody, it's like, well, no, you can't.
I can't.
Oh, just for some reason you cannot contact your god.
You don't remember how.
You don't remember how.
Oh.
You forget who your god is.
Crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
And then that sinking feeling starts to set in.
Sink.
As long as remember, this is all if you're in this area of the trees. So as soon as you leave it, it eventually comes back. I guess it comes back within a round.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have this Lake and Water Palace, which is the home of Emmett Otter and his family.
Yeah, the otters.
The Otter family.
The otter family, which won't attack you, but will playfully nudge things and try to annoy the crap out of you so you attack them.
This is basically the module trying to get you to fight things when you shouldn't.
Yeah.
they basically taunt you.
They're being playful.
Yeah.
They're being playful.
Yeah. They start batting a little ball at you, spinning it on their nose, being all cute, ottery.
And then try to knock you off.
Right.
Nah, don't worry about it. None of the player characters will attack. Yeah, it's definitely what you're saying, Nick. Exactly.
Okay. I just didn't know if I could say that out loud. But
It's a D move.
Jerk move? It's a jerk move?
Yeah, it's a D
Yes.
move. D-bag move. How's that?
Yeah. It's a D-bag move by the module trying to get you to fight things when you know, probably by this point, that you shouldn't be fighting things anyway. So,
Yeah, this is definitely one of those the DM is trying to, well, the module is trying to screw you over. But
yeah, it's almost a form of railroading, I guess.
no, not this module.
No, never. But they have some cool loot.
Right.
If you can get to it.
Yeah. The
A short composite bow +1, 6 arrows +2, a dagger +2, a scroll, 2 scrolls, each with protection from undead.
Okay.
A wand which is a wand of magic missiles, 20 charges, and a wand of wonder. Hey.
My
you
question with
mean
this
in
is-
the weapons store? Yeah.
Yeah, the
Right.
weapons store.
Yeah, my question is, why would the otters put it in all this stuff in a waterproof area?
No idea. Why do they call it the
That's-
weapons store?
Yeah.
Is there a person in there with like an apron on? He's selling stuff.
Well,
Like when I read that title, I was like, "Is there a guy in there with an apron on, sweeping the floor? Like, how you doing, folks? What can I get for you today?" It's like that's what I thought. I'm like, "What weapons store?"
you have to remember this was written in England, and store has many different reasons. There's different definitions to the word store.
Well,
And
wouldn't-
store it could be meaning storage room.
Matt, look that one up. Is there a difference? Is there a difference between store in American English and British English, or wouldn't they just say storage?
I don't know, but let's find out.
All right. Well, let's go on, Nick. While he's googling that.
Yes,
He's Google food.
and then we have the Green Man's Lair that you should probably get to in this module, which is essentially 3 rooms that the Green Man resides, who's a demigod who was persuaded years and years ago by the 2 original proprietors of
Yeah.
of the garden.
You found something, Matt?
Yes. Store, noun. A building in which things are kept until they are needed. And the example they use actually is weapons store.
See, if you knew the Queen's English, you would know.
Yes.
What
That
is-
is from Cambridge.org. I
Yes,
found
of
that.
course.
Excuse me, it's the King's English, first of all.
No, it's the Queen's still around.
Well, originally it was the King's tongue, but anyway.
Well, yes, true. That's besides the point.
Okay, well, they got one over on me, so whatever. I just thought
This
it was
is
funny.
also a people who use the letter U a lot.
What color?
Flavor,
Armor.
color, armor.
And they say schedule.
No, we love you. We love you guys.
They like to say schedule all the time and privacy.
Yes, schedule. Yes.
And what is
And
it? What is-
aluminium.
yes, aluminium instead of aluminum. I don't get that one, but okay.
We tease you because we love you.
Yes, we do love you.
That's right. That's
Chip,
how.
chip.
That's
Cheerio.
True. Yes. Remember, what is it? Separated by a common language. Is that what Churchill said?
Yeah, I don't know.
But-
Anyway,
Anyway.
Green
yes,
Man, Green Man, who is Q
Um,
because he's standing in the back of the room with his arms folded, watching the party the whole time.
Yes, with a bemused look on his face,
Yes.
I believe. So yeah, when you pop into room A, and there's like it's full of like basically a bunch of
Artifacts.
equipment, jars, bowls, retorts, mortars, crucibles, alembics, gallipots, boilers, bottles, spatulas, ladles, blah 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 blah.
It's jam packed.
It's
jam-packed
Bed Bath and
with-
Beyond of the D&D world.
This is the Beyond part of Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yes, it is. The Bed Bath and Beyond of the module. Oh my god!
So
I
if
never
you
thought of it
all right,
that
so if
way.
you don't attack him, he invites you into room B to have a seat with him and have some tea and crumpets while he plays.
actually, some alcohol.
Yeah, well, whatever. You get to have a drink with him, and if he likes you during the drinks, you can go into the other room where he shows you all the plants, which make no significant value to anything according to the reading here.
So he's trying to get you drunk and lure you into another room.
yes,
Yes.
That just sounds wrong. You know what I mean?
what is the point of this third room? To show you this room, it says, if questioned closely by the players about the plants in this room, the DM may find himself in some difficulty. Certain parts of the Dungeon Master's Guide may help it, but if pressed, the DM might simply care to inform the druid, whatever, that while the plants in this room and any comments passed by the Green Man were quite fascinating to them, they gain no information of practical use.
Red herring, basically.
Yeah. Basically, this is where you get to show off your arbor knowledge.
Oh, so really what they're saying here is have the DM take a whole lot of his own time and look up a lot of stuff about botany and
Right,
whatnot
and
on his own
herbalism,
time.
and be like, and then this is normally grow.
To an absolutely pointless encounter room.
Counter. Basically, it's all flavor stuff. It's all, I mean, it's just
It's all roleplay, which is fine. I love
it's all
roleplay.
roleplay.
Right.
Sure.
But
But the module's almost entirely role play. There's virtually no combat encounters except for the first two, which are in with the Mudmen. Well, three: Mudmen, Ochre Jelly, and the Poltergeist.
Yeah.
After that, you're not supposed to fight anything.
no.
Right. And as we discover as we go through this, not only is the temporal warp affecting the player characters in the game, it's also affecting the players at the table
Yeah.
with things moving so slow.
Yes. And then we get to the point now that we're reviewing it, I'm starting to get really mad about this module. Thanks, guys. I'm off the fence now, and I'm starting to hate it. So
Please tell me why you hate it now, Nick.
the maze.
Yeah.
The maze part now pisses me off. I'm sorry.
So the first person steps into this maze part, and it's one way. As soon as the second person steps into it, it turns into a different way to go. Is that how I'm reading it?
Yeah.
And then the third person changes it yet again.
Yep.
And then the fourth.
Yep.
So every time somebody steps into it, the configuration changes.
Yeah. Pretty much.
When I'm looking at this maze, I think the writers had one of the little plastic toys with the ball in the center in the maze that you kind of tilted to go through.
Oh, like you got in a Cracker Jacks box?
Yes. That is what that maze is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that maze is.
Well,
And they're
everybody
like, "Oh,
everybody starts.
Wouldn't it be cool if we just took this little plastic toy and made it a maze? And
Yeah.
then for each player, we'll just rotate it like this.
So, would the players' characters, when they step in here, the first person steps in. You notice how there's a long hallway there. He steps in. The guy follows in behind him, and you go to maze 2. Now there's a wall between them. Am I right?
I'm not sure how I read that.
That's how it read to me.
So when the party first enters the maze, takes the form of pattern 1. If they then try to leave, they will do so through pattern 2.
Okay. I got
Yeah,
confused.
so-
there.
So
All right.
when you leave, when you try to leave, the pattern changes.
Yeah,
Oh.
it doesn't split the party.
I was
It's
gonna
just
say-
that every time you exiting. Now, if the party decides to split in the maze, then I could see.
Okay. I got confused on that one for a second.
Yeah, I guess when you get to the center, when you get to that damn sundial, which I'll get to here real shortly, I guess when you're trying to leave that area, then the pattern changes.
Yes, okay.
So when you're leaving the sundial area, which is in the center every time, and the sundial always shows noon, but on the sundial there are basically 4 imprints
Yeah.
of 4 different types of plants in the maze. There's an implant of an oak leaf, a mistletoe, a shamrock or a clover, and a dog rose. Now, you're supposed to get these 4 items, put them in the indentations for those items on the sundial, so it gets you access to the Palace of Spires. You're finally teleported to where the Palace of Spires are, which is in some extra dimensional realm, and that's where the 2 I've been calling them the 2 star-crossed lovers, because that's what they are. Romeo and Juliet, more or less, are hidden, and that's where you get to them. But here's the thing about this: there's no indication from the very beginning of the module of how
That you should be collecting these things.
you should know to even look for these things.
Yeah, there's hints on each little spots of like the dog rose and things like that, but I wouldn't have known to start collecting it. Would you?
Right. So basically, you're making this huge monumental task of you finally get to this maze, and you're just looking at the sundial. You don't know what the hell it is. You don't know what it does, besides being a sundial, which always shows noon, so it's useless. And you see the indentations, unless you take a huge, tremendous leap of logic and figure out, it's like, oh, I guess we're supposed to get a clover leaf from the leprechaun's woods, or we're supposed to get oak leaves from wherever, and a mistletoe from the Blackbird's Grove. How are you supposed to know that?
I think as a DM here, I would actually improvise here and put like a little sign below it that says, please place the 4 ingredients listed on here to get to the palace. And then if the players are still kind of confused, I would do like a memory recall type thing that I've used in various campaigns, and have them recall, you remember seeing a dog rose, which is a symbol on the left-hand side, right near the Fountain of All Healing. And a player goes, oh, we need to go back and go get that. So, something like that.
Right.
Right. Again, we're hopping on the choo-choo train.
Right. But unless you figure that out, you're going to be going back and forth to the maze several times, maybe, which changes all the time. So in this way, it's like, oh, now you tell me this is how you get into the damn Palace of Spires. I'm like, oh.
I mean,
even for the DM, you got to dig for the information.
I would think maybe you can throw it in as a rumor, like a 13th rumor, to be like, oh, it's said to get to the Palace of Spires, you need to collect some certain ingredients along the way. It's really special, or something like that.
Or you can maybe even use the Green Man as sort of a
Like
when
if they
he
made
shows up
friends
from
with
time to time, he'll throw
if they made friends with them, he'll tell them, oh, you're trying to get to the spire? Yeah, you'll need these.
Right. Or
And then he would have them in his little nursery.
Yeah, that's true. You can go back to the Green Man and be like, "Hey, yo, dude, we need these ingredients to get to the palace," and he'll be like, "Well, you got to do this for me or something."
right. I guess that's might be one way I would use him too. I mean, or he
Yeah.
would drop hints to you. And, maybe he's,
Please, not in rhymes.
All of a
maybe
sudden, he starts dropping rhymes like the leprechauns.
Yeah.
And there'd be one dead party after that
Yeah, there would be.
because they would
But
try
I
to
guess
slaughter
that
him.
would be a way of resolving it, though. Just trying to drop hints or ask him directly. So,
Yeah, I would go back to the Green Man, use him, or have him pop up and be like, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
trying. You should have told me you were trying to get there. You need to go collect the following."
yeah, but the thing that got me is, like I said, they should divulge this information to the DM at the very beginning of the module. It's like, okay, this is what the party has to do to get into the palace so they can find the princess and the prince or whoever they are.
Yeah, but Nick, you're the DM. You're reading it ahead of time, so you'll prepare for this.
I understand, but still, I'm a lazy DM.
Yeah, but you're not on the fly doing this module. I hope.
No, but
I mean, you could if you really wanted to.
no, but I'm a lazy DM. I like to have everything up front for me. They were
True.
just lazy designers.
Yeah. But with this, too, just getting these items, it's not even interesting. It's just you go there, you grab it, you walk away.
Pretty much.
So it's not even interesting.
Or
It's
maybe
kind of this is like MMO.
Yeah,
like
it really
go
is.
run, fetch here, just to drag things out.
I guess they could have, at the certain points where these ingredients were, make a little thing note to DM. These are important for Sundial, G, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a kind of a note like that, like you said for you, for the lazy DM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
'Cause
whatever.
That's me.
otherwise, you'll just have players running around forever grabbing things, and it's not fun. It's boring. I would probably hit the point where, like, okay, you get through the maze, you fast forward there, you grab the stuff, and you're done. Because
Yeah,
that's how
that's what I
interesting it
would
would
do.
be at this point to go back and revisit those places, unless they've managed to annoy everyone and the entire garden wants to attack them on sight. But if they've been friendly and made friends,
Yeah.
it's not even difficult. You just
Especially if they
fast forward through a little time, you're done.
especially whoa, let's not fast forward time in here.
Right.
Yeah, especially if they have a lot of difficulty getting through the maze. Do you really want to sit through that again as a DM? Describing
Well,
the maze
no.
again and again and
No.
again.
No, unless you're real sadistic.
Right. If
Well-
you don't like your players and want to break up your group,
Yeah.
then you would do that.
Especially if you don't have
Well,
somebody
I-
that doesn't map. You're
Yeah.
screwed.
Well, I guess at this point, the party's probably killed everything in the garden, taken the Green Man hostage in some fashion,
Or
and
killed
now
themselves
finally
just
got
to get out of it.
teleported, and finally teleported to the Palace of Spires. So everybody's really upset.
By the way, the picture they have of this palace, it doesn't look like a very nice looking palace.
No,
You
it
would-
looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic dark future.
Yes, you now get transported to Mordor.
Yeah, really.
For the most part, yeah.
It looks like it's built on top of, I don't know, bones and skulls of like dragons or something.
Yeah, there's like dragon's wings sticking out and so
And it
on.
looks like there's a big giant ant head, like, halfway up there. Do you see that? It's kind of like the eyes of a bee or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I never noticed that.
It kind of looks like a
the
big giant
dragon
ant
wing
head.
always caught my eye.
Yeah, it does. And it looks like there's ships poking out of there too, like airships,
Yeah.
right above the dragon wing. That looks like an airship there, doesn't it?
This
From, like-
might have been just a piece of art that, let's see who made this. Oh, Timothy Truman. He might have just had this laying around and say, hey, here you go, guys. Fill this up. Here, it'll fill a page.
And the spire on the left-hand side looks like a candle just melted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's cool looking art, but it just doesn't quite fit the feel of the module.
Like
Right.
you would think.
all.
I'm sorry. You would think this palace is like a magical, like Wizard of Oz palace type thing going on here.
Yeah,
But
rainbows
I'm
and
picturing-
butterflies and
Yeah,
unicorns.
Cinderella's
Not-
castle sort of thing.
Not like Skeletor's lair or something from
No.
He-Man.
I'm
Sneak
picturing
down-
Cinderella's castle. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
All right, so we're on part 4 of the module, the end.
Yes.
pretty
And
much.
like I said, by this time, the party's probably really pissed off.
or half dead.
They've mounted the heads of pixies on their pikes. And they're finally saying, let's just get this over with.
Yeah, let's just get this over with so we can move on to another module.
Yes, exactly. Now this is the spot where I can understand where the no fighting, no combat thing could come into play, because you're at this castle, this Palace of Spires, and there was it at the entrance porch. There's these huge bronze doors, foot thick, and there is a carving, I believe, some words that say "Enter in peace" above the doorway.
Yes.
Right. And we need to just mention this palace is not on the prime material plane.
No, it's some extra dimensional realm.
So
Yes.
So the time frame is the same here, though, even though it's on another
All right.
plane. What plane
You
is this
still got
supposed to
the
be
time
on?
distortion stuff.
What plane is this on?
The plane of the Palace of Spires.
Yeah.
It's his
The
own
only
plane.
and the only reason you know it's
It's a
on a different
pocket
plane
universe.
is because it says that the Green Man under no circumstances will leave the prime material plane to enter the palace, even in response to spells which would normally attract him. So this is your chance to start running amok and not have to worry about Green Man.
Yeah,
Pretty
until you
much.
get back. Yeah.
But he just doesn't go there.
All right.
You're at the porch trying to get in, because if you try to get in without dropping your weapons, you're attacked by some caryatid columns. They will animate as soon as you try to pass the threshold with any weapons. But as soon as you drop them, they'll start attacking.
And you can't
So-
force the doors open.
Right.
If you do, they attack you.
Mm-hmm.
I can see like one of my players going, I drop my weapon, it stops. I pick it up, it comes after you. I drop my weapon. Just like the toy with the DM. I can see them doing that.
It's kind of like if we flash back to when the columns were in the creature feature and we actually did a live role play of them.
Yeah.
It was similar to that. Actually, as you guys approached the structure, they moved. As you stopped, they stopped. It becomes Simon Says, or red light, green light.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Mother, may I?
Well, eventually you get past either by killing the caryatid columns, which more than likely would happen by this time because everybody's ticked off. You do find Orlando and Juliana, Romeo and Juliet, in a room sitting on a couch. One's petting a bird and the other one's...
You say that with such anger, Nick.
I know. At this point, I'm like...
You want to kill them.
I want to kill them now.
They're
I
petting
don't want to
a
rescue
bird.
you. I want to kill you. Your death will be your release, and so will it be from me. So, well, you find them, and they have some teleport keys,
Yeah.
which are used so that you can get back, I believe.
Yes.
So hopefully you can talk to Juliana and Orlando and convince them to come along with you.
Is it me or I keep wanting to say Orlando Bloom?
Yeah.
I just keep wanting to say that.
Tony, Orlando, and Don.
Yeah. But
Sweet
go on.
Gypsy knows.
Yeah.
Little ribbon around the old oak tree. Then you have a potential encounter with Hamish and Argus, who are protectors basically of Juliana and Orlando. So I guess if they're attacked, and if it's loud enough in their room, then Hamish and Argus will come and defend them. These are the guys you talked about, Vince.
Yeah.
To where they wandered in, which would have been 4 months ago, but in the time inside the what is it?
Time inside the garden, yeah.
But it's actually 240 years outside.
Yeah. Well, let's back up one step here, back to Orlando and Juliana's room, which they're in there and they're petting the bird, pissing Nick off beyond all belief.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does it?
Oh, I'm sure it's not just me. I'm sure the rest of the people playing, like, really?
Okay, so in this box text, which is the description, fine. Then the DM's notes, there is nothing in there that says how you convince them to leave.
You have to use the wish to break it.
But how are you going to get them to follow you to get to the point where you can use the wish? You're just going to leave them there? I mean, this is great. It's interesting, but there's nothing here for the DM to say, oh, gee,
Well,
they met them. What
hold on.
now?
Subdue them, tie them up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that guy who's no longer a cleric.
Yeah.
Take his club, bonk him on the head, drag him along.
He's a cleric again. Remember, it comes back.
Oh, that's right. Well, he still bonks him on the head and drags him along.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
At least that's all I know. What my party would do. That's what they would do. Oh, you're not coming along? Thwack, thwack. Okay.
Yep.
I guess that's where it comes into the point. If they hear a loud noise, them screaming, Hamish and Argus will come running in.
Two could be
Play
easily
sleep
taken
spell.
down by this time because everybody's so enraged.
Anyway, so you may or may not tackle with them. So
No, may or may not. They could later on be potential, I guess, player characters or at least NPCs.
yeah,
Let's see. There's a gallery, roof gardens,
Crystal
Bridge.
Bridge. Nothing really important happens in these places.
Yeah, blah blah blah.
Then you have.
Then you got the tomb
Finally,
of Carowin and Proferio. And this is where you get the wish, potentially get the wish.
aka railroaded.
Right. And it says it in nice italicized wording. If the party refrains from opening the tomb, placing his hands on the heart and head of either of the recumbent statues, be granted one full wish. Oh, joy.
So they'll be made aware of this by some magical woman's voice in their head.
Mm-hmm.
But if they open the tomb, they lose the wish, and anybody in the party that's with them loses the wish as well, regardless of the fact that they say, I'm not with them or I don't care about them.
And plus, like I said, you got to use the wish correctly.
Did you read
Because other than that, you waste it.
Did you read some of the other notes? Like if the player character decides to use the wish to bring back the
Yes.
two lovers, they will say, "No, we're fine. Leave us alone," and go back to being dead.
Yeah. They'll like stir momentarily, kind of flutter their eyes open, and they'll just go back.
And they'll tell you, "No, we're fine. Just leave us alone."
Yeah, we're fine. We're good.
And a DM should take into account any player that uses the wish to, I guess, right the wrongs they did inside the garden. He should take upon them fairly when he... What?
Like that's ever going to happen.
Yep.
Right.
And then there's also in any event, 12 turns after one or more party members first enter the domed room, every party member will fall asleep in a deep sleep. No way of preventing this.
Right.
So you have 12 rounds as soon as you step in there to either decide if you're going to open it, place your hand there or not, to get your wish or not. So
Pretty much, yeah.
And then cast your wish as well, because once you leave, it's done.
I guess the only saving grace is each person does get a wish in the party.
But they lose it.
So, well, that's the thing, though. I mean, if one person uses it incorrectly, like trying to wish the, Carowin and Proferio back to life, you still have someone else who might use their wish properly. So
Yeah, you got to use 2 wishes.
yeah. So you're counting them down until they get it right to break the curse of the Fountain of All Heal, which bounds everybody to the garden.
If the party decides to expend the 2 wishes in freeing Juliana and Orlando from the enchantment, they will still have to persuade the couple that their families have been reconciled, and there is no impeding of their future life together. Nothing impeding them. So,
I mean, there's still no way of like something stopping you from just basically bonking them on the head or casting a sleep spell on them and dragging them out, I suppose.
Right.
I mean, is sleep one of the spells that you can't use in here? No.
I'd have to go way back.
And the two was it Juliana or Orlando? They're just 0 level nobodies.
Right.
And if you don't use another one of the wishes to break the spell of, say, one of the other player characters, as soon as they get out, they'll want to go right back in.
So if you don't use this, if you don't get the wish, I would say sleep spell, bound and gag them, drag their butts out of the garden. Bye-bye.
Right.
And don't wish correctly, you basically have 2 characters to hand over to the DM as NPCs.
And promptly dump the kids on their parents' doorsteps with a note pinned to them. actually literally pinned to them through their chest so they're bleeding,
Ow.
saying, "Here's your kid, bye."
What about your 10,000 gold?
Oh, jeez, are you kidding me?
At that point, you just want to get away from this as quickly as possible.
Oh, that 10,000 gold doesn't matter because by this point, you've already killed everything in here because you didn't care and you took all their stuff.
Right. I mean, just grabbing one of those
10,000 gold would just be, a little added bonus.
Right. 10,000 gold. If you in the gallery, just one piece of art is well over 10,000 gold each.
Right. Yeah, that gallery, that art
So
gallery.
10,000 is nothing.
But you can't. You can't take that stuff.
Yeah, you can.
I thought
Yeah,
there
you
was
can.
something
There's
to do with.
Oh,
No, nothing says.
well, you can, but they act as a lodestone.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
All right. I guess you could take it and collapse the entire thing. But,
Right.
Okay.
It'd be a great practical joke to play on someone.
No, you then stick them in your bag of holding.
Yeah.
Lodestone, no problem.
Right.
All right. So let's just go back to the tomb, because I know people are probably wondering a little bit more about that, because obviously it's a big decision ending to this entire adventure to wrap things up.
Like I said, temporal distortion also affects players playing this module.
So around the sides of the slab, in letters of gold, are written the following lines: "O stranger, whose faith hath brought nigh, leave those within peace to lie. If thou wouldest deign grant our request, then fate will move at thy behest. This gift from the contented dead, we swear to grant by heart and head." Okay.
And you're supposed to figure out, you need to put your hand on one
The
of the
head-
hearts and one of the heads
Either
to
or.
get your
yeah.
wish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Something I did find interesting with the wish, say you get your wishes, you got everyone back, you're ready, okay, let's go. Then you get that idea like, let's open that tomb anyway. It undoes every wish.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't do everything.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it'll be like, all that work you did for nothing, and now no more wishes, you're screwed.
And you fall asleep.
Right. So, yeah, this is just one where, the players are just going to have issues, and you better, if you want to keep playing with these characters, just get used to running a garden campaign.
Yeah.
So,
did you also notice the Green Man's alignment, chaotic neutral? Did that not seem right?
that actually kind of seemed perfect for him, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought more like just a straight neutral. I don't know.
He's drunk.
Okay.
Chaotic.
Okay. I go with you on that.
So, swords. 1 of 5, 1 being, oh my god, get me away from this module, 5 being, I can't wait to play this module multiple times. We're going to save Nick to the end here. Matt, we'll start with you.
I think you might be surprised by my answer.
I'm going with a 2 because there's some things like the Mudmen, they're interesting. Throw them somewhere else.
The
there's some
demigod
things in
Mudmen?
here. Throw it somewhere else, and it's amusing enough. The bark burr, so
Yeah.
Green Man. We now have a new god to add to it. So there's some stuff you can mine for it, and this would be like a cruel practical joke I would play to my players, making them go through this. But as for playing it, nah. It's up there with the Forest Oracle.
Okay, cool. 2 for you. I'm going to go with a 3 here because there's a lot of little things I could steal from here and just import into my own adventure. I kind of like the Green Man. I could see him making another type of character based on the Green Man, but maybe, I don't know, maybe having the Green Man leave and follow the party to annoy them or something because they took something. I could do that. I could use that. The end needs to be rewritten because, like Matt said, how would you figure out based on that riddle to put your hand? And in 12 turns, you're going to pass out by the time you figure it out. It's like, thud. So, yeah, I'm giving a big old 3. So we got a 2 and a 3, and let's head over to Nick.
I'm going to give it 2.5.
Okay, 2.5.
I'm going to give it 2.5. 2.5 swords. It has some potential. Before, like I said, I was kind of in the middle about it. Now I'm like, not so much. It has to be tweaked, in my opinion, because I think knowing my players and how I am as a DM, if you try to tie the party's hands to the point where they pretty much can't do any sort of combat, and they got to role play through the whole thing, and if they're do combat, there could be serious consequences. They're just going to get mad at you.
Yeah.
And that's why I would probably tweak things out here and there. Like maybe, okay, no combat in the Castle of Spires, but maybe you can get away with it in the garden. I don't know. But I don't know. It just seemed kind of, it was railroady.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, there are some interesting role-playing encounters in there. Don't get me wrong, there are. I mean, I could see the encounter with the Green Man can be, could potentially be a very memorable NPC, like what you said, Vince.
Yeah.
He could be a guy could pop up from time to time, kind of a Q sort of character, but he's wasted all the time.
If you're a fighter, you're
Yeah.
a fighter with low intelligence, you're going to be bored this entire adventure.
If you're a fighter, if you're a barbarian class, oh my
Lord,
God,
you're going to be very bored.
very, very bored. Or if you're a thief who likes to backstab, good luck. This is those people they like the complete role playing aspect of the game, not so much combat resolution and things of that nature, which is not a terrible thing if the adventure there's a good balance of it. This, I think it's way out of balance, and just the whole storyline is just a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, which I think is kind of sad. You could have been a little more original, but hey, it is what it is.
So
some people like it. I'm in the middle with it still. I don't know.
So when you started this module before rereading it again after all these years, were you at a 3, and then after reading it you dropped down to a 2.5, or?
I was probably like at a 3.5, but now I'm at 2.5 for sure. I mean, now that it, and I think it's a good thing talking about it amongst ourselves. I can now see things in a different light, and like, you know what? Yeah, that is kind of a D-bag move by the module here and the writers. It's very heavy-handed with the railroading of the whole plot. Just so many things you can and cannot do. It's ridiculous.
All right. So the average is a 2.5 for the group. That's our final grade stamp for this. Roll for Initiative gives it a 2.5 out of 5. Would I tell someone to buy this if Wizards does a reprint on this?
Which they are now.
Which they're doing now. Print on demands on most of these modules.
Yep.
If you're a collector and you need to have this, I would say go buy the original if you could find it. Don't get the print on demand. If you have to have it, go get the PDF, however means necessary. I would say just kind of pass on this unless like Matt said, unless you want to piss off your party.
Right.
God, this is a good way of doing it.
Because if I was playing this adventure, and I was playing, which I tend to do, either like a cleric or fighter type character, I would probably be showing up going, this module again.
Yeah.
And people can look down at me and make fun of me all they want, and maybe, I'm not evolved or sophisticated. No, this is boring. Sorry.
Yeah. That's why I said probably when you get to the point where you get to the Palace of Spires, you've probably laid waste to most everything in the module just out of sheer spite of it all. So,
right. Especially Nick, he's holding a damn bird.
It's like, the whole fire thing was a glitch. I'm like, I'm reading the fire drakes. I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
How are they going to keep their eggs warm when they can't produce fire?
Well, maybe they're doing it by gases from their. Never mind.
Right.
No, that's not fire unless they're eating Mexican food.
Whoa, Nick.
I'm just saying.
Well,
just imagine if you would have let fire in this module, what would have happened?
The players would have burned it down.
Yes.
Pretty much. That's probably why they put that in there, because they thought, you know what, we built this module in such a fashion to where
it's a highly flammable module.
At this point,
Yeah,
if
they're
Nick was playing this module and I was running it, he probably would have burned the entire garden by now.
Probably. Or physically burnt the module, taken it and thrown it in a fireplace.
Wow.
Say, what are you doing to me?
I think on that note, we're going to head into creature feature theater here.
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5-foot long gorilla?
Creature Feature Theater.
It's alive! It's alive!
And now we are in the creature feature. And we're going to discuss a monster from this. Oh,
And
let's actually talk about something I like that it's usable. When we've hit on it earlier. We'll go with the Mud Man.
Good.
Why are they a demigod?
I don't know.
The
Why?
demigod of mud.
Why are they demigods? They're just mud people.
Magical over... okay, so let's think about this for a second. So magical runoff water touching mud creates demigods.
Why?
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time.
Why are they demigods?
It's called a misprint.
A misprint?
Oh, no, there is no misprints in this. They intended it to be demigods.
This is back. It's either back. This is the time frame was 83. So either this was typed on a piece of paper by a typewriter or typeset on one of those print presses. So they had to physically type the word demigod or physically put those stupid letters in that book, that little block there.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you got pissed off? You got pissed off about the bird
for the Green Man entry, right?
You got pissed off at the bird. I got pissed off at this.
I know.
And think of it this way: number appearing 2 to 12. 12 demigods hanging out together.
Yes, but the Green Man has nothing underneath him as a classification. 0.
No.
Nothing.
No.
Just he's God of growth and abundance. We don't need to put down any other classification at all. We'll just give it to the Mudman.
Yes.
I'll just throw my papers across the room now. Go ahead.
Yes. As we mentioned, they are formed in pools of mud where enchanted waters collect and evaporate. So basically, they can happen anywhere. So there's a little bit of demigod pretty much anywhere where there's magic. Okay. They're physically animated mud, taking the stocky humanoid forms when roused. They move slow but can't leave their pool of mud. So yeah, you could just hop on like solid land. Oh, sorry, Mudman. Fooled you. You can't get me. Yeah.
Just like
when
that.
a character enters their pool of mud, that's when they're like, ooh, you're not mud. We don't like you. And then that's when they rise from the mud. And they may be harmed by weapons only because they're magical. Because they are demigods. A whole horde of them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they are small. They're only 4 feet tall.
Right. And then they attack by hurling mud at their opponents. So they are their weapon of choice is that of a 7-year-old.
Pretty much.
Their AC is 10 because they're really slow in their mud.
Can we contact the person that created this monster and said WTF to them?
No, I have a perfect explanation of how this was written. I
blame Graham.
No,
Oh, come on.
I listened to a book on Marvel Comics, and during the 70s, like their Doc Strange comic and a few of the other comics, they were written while the writers were high on LSD. I think some of that carried over.
How dare you,
It makes a
Matt.
lot more sense if
They were
you have some
smoking
artificial mind-altering drugs.
They were smoking weed.
Yeah. Maybe that's why there was so much green in this module.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to believe that explanation.
Yeah.
I disbelieve Matt's explanation. Please roll for my intelligence check there.
Disbelief.
Wait, can we disbelieve this entire module?
It's still not as bad as Forest Oracle. At least this one you can read it.
Well, Forest Oracle gave us laughs beyond belief. This just pissed us the hell off.
Yeah, this just makes you mad.
This is just like because Forest Oracle hit MST3K parody of itself.
Yeah, it
this
did.
is just like it's not quite there, and it just makes you annoyed.
Yeah.
Great.
And I'm sure people listening right now are like, "Oh my god, these guys are acting like pretentious douches now." You know what? Too bad. That's what we think. You don't like it, don't like it. I'm sorry.
Then don't listen. Exactly.
No, okay. Well, if you disagree, if you think we're being pretentious here, I have a challenge for you. Run this as a con game.
Oh God.
You can't run this as a con game.
Run it as a con game. Then,
How many? You'd need a 6-hour block at least and a fast forward button at a con for this.
Well, no, you would run it in 3 separate blocks of 4 hours.
right. Basically, you have
second, third round.
the garden. You have the cat. Yeah. You just divide it up.
And then you would just get a whole bunch of people coming to the third round. They're so mad at you because you ruined their convention.
No, they
Provided,
would probably drop out
yeah,
and not
provided
show up.
Provided they got tickets to your game because they realized how you set it up.
And they would ban you from the con.
Yeah, run this at North Texas RPG Con. See how many people just destroy you the next day.
Oh God.
It would be more like you run this, more like a Tracy Hickman Killer Breakfast, where you have an audience.
Okay, we're getting off track
I can
here.
live with that.
Matt, back to the Mudmen.
Okay, yes, back to the Mudmen. Yeah, as we mentioned before, they're slow. They got to. If you get hit by the mud, they throw at you. You got a movement rate of 1 inch. So you're just you're slothing it. However, while hurling the blobs of mud, they move towards you at their full movement rate. And then once they're within 1 inch, they hurl themselves at you. They go and hug you. And then a successful hit means death of the Mudman, but also slows the victim. So basically, they kill themselves. The demigods throwing themselves at a person kills themselves.
Demigod, right? Yeah, sure.
Yes, they're demigods.
Right. Yeah.
A miss means the Mudman must spend the next round reforming. So it hurls itself at you, and if it hits you, it dies.
And then you'll die.
Once a victim's movement rate is reduced to 0 or below, they become unable to move, even to wipe the mud from their face, and begin to suffocate. And the victim will die within 5 rounds unless rescued. Hardened mud can be broken away from wholly or partially immobilized creatures. In this manner, you can restore your movement at a rate of 1 per round. Mudmen cannot sense creatures outside their pool and will not attack them. So don't step in the mud. They won't see you coming. They're demigods.
Yes, the demi part limits their vision.
Yes. If they were full gods, they would know you're walking near their mud pool. But they're demigods, yeah, no.
Yes.
Once there are no living opponents left within their pool, the roused mudmen will sink back into their pool. They are also affected by
You're
spells.
saying the Mudmen were aroused?
That's
Yes.
exactly what he said.
Yep, they get aroused.
Okay, moving on.
Yes. Mudmen are also affected by spells that cause damage. So, yeah, all your damage spells work on them. But then there's other ones have more effects. The spell Magic is the equivalent of a fireball. Same with Dig.
Nice.
You can transmute mud to rock. Kills all mudmen.
Wow.
So you can slaughter 12 demigods with transmute mud to rock. No saving throw as well for them.
Seems like a pretty easy way to kill a demigod.
Yeah. They're immune to poisoning.
Wait.
And you can't sleep them or charm them or use psionics on them. And as long as the mudmen are not fully formed, the damage caused by spells cast on them, which do not have an area effect, is divided among all the mudmen. But if they're fully formed into their forms, then you're attacking them one at a time. So if you can fireball them per se, or dispel magic while they're forming, you just did an area effect.
So instead, I can use my magic missile not to attack the darkness, but attack the mudness.
Yes.
And it's not on the list.
Oh, at that point, your players start attacking mud puddles because they assume they're going to be demigods attacking them.
Oh, Lord.
Albeit, I just had a thought, though. A child, they like jumping in puddles. They jump into a puddle and get attacked by a mudman and engulfed.
That's just mean.
That would be an interesting. What just happened?
I'm a mean DM, or an evil DM, but I'm not going to have children die like that. That's
just wrong.
That's just wrong, Matt. Matt's just the wrong DM. That's what we're going to call him from now on.
Yeah,
Wrong.
I'm not even. I'm wrong. DM against humanity.
Yes.
All right, well.
Yeah, that's the Mudman.
That's going to end the show, and we're going to get the heck out of here. Roll for Initiative podcast. You can look us up on iTunes, keyword Roll for Initiative podcast, and give us a review. rfistaff@gmail.com, 570-865-4210 for the voicemail hotline. And hit us up on Facebook, Roll for Initiative, or on G+. And we do have our RFI podcast on Twitter if you want to follow us for show announcements and updates. Until then, keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
The Roll for Initiative podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at rfipodcast.com or contact us on our forums at osrgaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.